Hey Aries, this is your general tarot reading for Aries, Sun, Moon and Ascendant, rising sign for the month of June. Aries, let's do as we always do. We're going to shuffle the cards and wait on all the right ones to come out for you, my love. And in the meantime, let's talk about the energies that you may feel throughout the month. But first I want to show you something. I was out in the garden just 2 minutes ago and I was just saying, okay, before I go in and start recording for Aries, are there any messages? I was just saying to myself, to Spirit, are there any messages that I really need to pass on to Aries? And in that moment, just as I said that, this fell right on my shoulder. A little white feather. And this is absolutely perfect for the theme of this month, Aries. It's all about being spiritually protected. It's all about being in touch with Spirit, your higher guides, your ancestors, those who've gone before you. It's all that kind of energy this month. Very intuitive, very spiritual, and full of maybe nice synchronicities. You know, you'll be seeing the 1111s and all things, coincidental things just happening for you. And there'll be a real moment where you say, okay, I know you did this. It'll be very like that for you this month, Aries. So little feathers, little signs and symbols coming from Spirit this month. So stay open. And very much so, Aries, to get the best out of this month, you really should or could, let me say, I can't tell you what to do, but the best way to do it is to kind of let Spirit take the wheel, really, and to feel like, okay, you're in charge now, you show me, you open this for me, you kind of let me be in the right place at the right time kind of thing. And there will be lots of little confirmations that there's a conversation or a dialogue or an understanding and a great love between you and Spirit this month. So it's huge heart energy, huge intuitive energy, and huge Spirit energy. So I like it. As your first card hops out, yeah, Judgment. Absolutely the month for that too. But let's begin at the beginning, as we always do, Aries. You've left May behind, probably still feeling the effect of that big Scorpio full moon that came with the sting in its tail and all types of unusual things happening. You might have found yourself, Aries, in a situation, maybe within a group of people, family, friends, work, co-workers, clients even, where you were just there saying, well, isn't it lovely weather? Are you doing anything nice for your vacation? And then the next moment, somebody in that group or somebody you're sitting in front of just decides to release and pour everything out. Deep emotions, taboo subjects, talking about life, death, the meaning of, things that have hurt them, wounded them, shamed them even, made them very sad. And you were there as a support. And what I really like, Aries, as I'm kind of tuning into the energy here, is that you've learned from last month when Mars, your ruler, was in the 3rd house, where to give your words. You remember we talked about that last month? Where not to argue, who to answer back to clap back to shout back to. And you learned that sometimes the best communication is just saying nothing. And maybe just holding space for another person, maybe somebody very close to you who decided to trust you and your vibe and your energy to pour things out to you. So that was very, very, very nice. And I just get the feeling of you feeling kind of maybe a bit confused by the stuff that came up, but at the same time feeling I did the right thing. At least I was able to be there for somebody, or at least I was able not to absolutely lose my shit under this weird energy, or this crisis energy even for some of you, you know. Maybe you lost your shit a little bit, but I think in general you had this moment of, I get this. I get that I don't have to be triggered in to jumping in and saying something, fixing something, or blah, blah, blah. I just have to sit back and let them vent, maybe in some cases. Yeah, but it was still uncomfortable. I get that. Now, for some of you, I'm going to say that you're probably still dealing with, as we go into June, some of the unwanted toxic creatures, swamp creatures that came up from their little slimy swamp to roll out their toxic barrel towards you. And hopefully, Aries, having learned from May with Mars in the third house, that you didn't kind of get into some sort of war with somebody who was trying to draw you out. I get the feeling it's somebody who absolutely has no ability to cope or deal with their own inner shadow or their own darknesses. So instead of actually dealing with it like you've been doing perfectly, they just said, oh, I can't control this. Here comes this bubble of toxic splurge. And there it is, out towards you. And again, hopefully, Aries, I hope that you had enough wisdom and sense to say, that little toxic barrel that you rolled at my feet, I'm just going to roll it right back at you and end this messiness, end this unnecessary toxicity. So hopefully you did that. And if you didn't, don't worry. There's time this month, a lot of time this month, to get into understanding and resolving any messiness that might have came up for you, because it was strong. Scorpio card coming out of Scorpio full moon, it was strong. And it's interesting, I do believe that it finally ended something for you, but we're going there because I think I know what ended for you there. Two other cards came out there. So we're going into Gemini season, and this is a nice season for you. You like Geminis, you like the energy, you like the buzz, because you like action, and Gemini loves the quick movement, the quick, let's do this, let's go, lots of ideas, lots of brainstorming. So when it comes to anything you're doing in your life, buying, selling, trading, maybe buying and selling a home or trading up to rent a new home or something like that, buying and selling things for the home, there's a lot going on, a lot of toing and froing and bargaining and things like that. But there's also a period here where you have some fabulous ideas, Aries. But the trick I'll say to you is, this month it's better not to be the Lone Ranger. I know sometimes you like going on your own and doing things by yourself, maybe probably because you can. But this month, I think you'll get more out of it if you allow other people to help you with things. Help you. I mean, if you're moving house, you might need a brother, sister, cousin or friend or somebody to help you move. If you have a new idea that you want to pitch out there into the global market, maybe you do need other people to run the idea past them so that they can kind of come in and brainstorm with you. It's collaboration. It's getting other people on board to hear something out. So this could also be a month of mediation for some of you if you're dealing with the courts or anything like that, where you need an intermediary, somebody who is able to sit in the middle and go to and from somebody, or some of those toxic swamp creatures that might have come up. There could be lots of calls, emails, lots of toing and froing, lots getting done, Aries. It's going to be busy, lots of appointments. So just make sure you have everything written down, because you don't want to be missing appointments because you're going to be kept busy. And here's the other thing I'm feeling for you too, Aries. There'll be a lot of people contacting you this month, friends, neighbours, family, whoever it is. Lots of people contacting you because you've earned, it seems, particularly over the last year and a half, a certain level of trust. People are admiring you because they believe in you. You've brushed up your act. We've talked about this so many times. You've become more responsible, more consistent, more reliable, more dependable, and more like somebody that is trustworthy. I mean, you're showing that off. So I think this month is a month where you might get a few phone calls or people dropping by or meeting you for coffee or whatever, and they might be pouring stuff out. And sometimes that's wonderful, sometimes it can get a bit heavy. Remember, Aries, as you're going through this month where people might be pouring things out, just give them space, just listen, just tell them it's going to be okay, just, if you can help wherever you can help, just be there. And just be maybe even a shoulder to cry on for somebody. There's I'm just also feeling here the energy of, because third house has a lot to do with cousins, maybe even siblings, there could be a family member like that could come to you, and they might surprise you by the way they're speaking. They might reveal some more depth, more heart. They might be somebody who would maybe in the past have been very, keeping their shit together. But this month, you might have a little conversation with them that goes a bit deeper. And there's a kind of, I feel, Aries here, a mutual respect, a mutual, okay, now we're on the same page. Now it's not so messy. Now we can talk, because now I feel that we're actually speaking from the heart. Speaking from the heart is a big thing for you this month. And being very touched by other people's communication, being very touched, even say general things, being touched by the books that you read or the TV shows that you watch. You could be crying a lot. You could be really heart connecting to things that you would have just normally walked past before, or just kind of just got the remote control and zipped through and said, boring, 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 boring. This month it's kind of, oh, I get it. I get it. That's an awful situation for them to be in. That's an awful moment in their lives. Wow, that must be tough for them. So you're feeling this huge compassion this month, Aries. And I'm going to go into it now, because this is really what's happening. Excuse me. You've a lot going on, as we often talk about since the last year and a half, about standing up, being determined, being ambitious, being consistent, being reliable, maybe in your career, a new business you're setting up, your studies, being the central hub for family. There is somewhere along the line over the last year and a half where you have said, no, it's actually time for me to really level up here, to get my game going on here, to really be in control of this. And you've done a great job. But what's happening here this month is you're kind of getting a moment of understanding why you had to go through all of that. Because it has been tough, and you've done a great job. I always tell you that I'm very, very proud of you, Aries, because I see how much work you've put into yourself, turning your life around. I get it. But this is a moment where you realize that it's not all about the work. It's not all about the ambition. It's not about being somebody. But instead, this month you'll see that it was always about being somebody to somebody. Being somebody for somebody. Not saying what's in it for me, because with Saturn, he can kind of bring you to that point where even with your best intentions in your heart and soul, there might be moments that you recognize where it's like, I'm fierce, I'm moving, I'm getting it, I'm ambitious. What's in it for me? And this is a month where you're saying, no, what's in it that is me? What's in it that is truly me? And so it's a very soft, it's a very much a moment where you connect to the meaning of what the last year and a half has been about for you. Why you were asked to step up and be responsible somewhere in your life. It was a gift, because the ultimate prize here was not necessarily what you've achieved, and you have achieved, Aries, but that wasn't the gift. The gift was kind of understanding what makes what you achieve complete. And what is that? Your heart connection to it. How much it means to you, how much you value it, how much it makes you happy, how much it makes you feel like you've created something personal in your life that makes you feel at peace, and that makes you feel that you don't have to worry about certain things anymore. Maybe your career, family, being a parent, being a responsible person, that the worry is kind of gone out of it, because that is the ultimate prize, being at peace. I mean, look at these big guys who've earned billions and billions, the big players. I mean, they strive, ambitious, consistent, push. And what do when they have everything, when they get to the top? They start giving it away. They start organizing charitable foundations and things, because they've realized that the real prize, once you have the thing you've looked for. The real prize is kind of sharing it and getting pleasure and peace and comfort from knowing that it wasn't always about what you can take and what you can get, but more about, well, once I take it and get it, can I be like the infinity symbol? Can I give it back? So some of you might be very interested in giving back, spending some time with maybe charitable organizations or people that are a little bit hard done by, or people that are going through some heavy shit. You're saying, I recognize that, I've been there, I see that, I've been blinkered. I'd kind of nearly almost forgotten what it was like to be in that position, but they've just come along and reminded me, and I can't ignore that. So maybe there's something I can do, even if it's not money, maybe it's just time, maybe it's just a phone call. It's just getting back into that space, Aries, where you say, I've been rewarded. No, I didn't maybe get the top prize, but I have been rewarded. It's time to give a little back. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy for Aries. And I always say this, I don't want to keep coming on every month and saying this, but you really touch me because I see and I feel what you've been through. And I always, always tell you how proud I am of you, because it always feels like you've overcome so much. And yet, you're the one sign, I always say this, that never complains. Even though when I feel your energy and I touch into that, at times I'd say, well, if anyone has a right to complain, it's Aries. But you don't. You don't. And I think, as I say this to you all the time, I think that's what kills me about you. You just keep getting up. You just keep like Rocky, dusting yourself down and keep going. And I'm always very, very, very impressed with that. And I think Spirit, I'm getting a bit emotional now, I think Spirit has also been very impressed with that. So, yeah, Spirit has been impressed with how you've turned yourself around, how you've come out of the dark place, how you've fought hard to get where you are now, and how you've done it with such grace and dignity. And I think Spirit is recognizing that. Yeah, now don't go on making me cry now, Aries. Don't do that. You did that to me, twice before. I won't be doing that again. But it is beautiful. It is a beautiful energy. And it reminds me of this too. Michelangelo, I'm assuming you all know who Michelangelo is, the famous artist from many, many centuries ago. He believed, he was both a sculptor and a painter, he was many other things too, but he believed that painting and sculpting were two different things. With painting, he said it was effort that went into adding something that created a divine thing. So you add paint, you add layers, you add colour. So the effort of adding something creates this divine masterpiece. But with sculpting, he said it's the effort of chipping away, cutting, and revealing what was already inside that makes the masterpiece. And like you, Aries, Spirit saw this raw material, the marble Aries, and chipped away at you, hard, with a hammer and chisel, and chipped, and until the point you said, enough, but no, chip, because it was revealing the divinity in you, the marble angel that was always in you, you know. And I don't want to get too, new agey or like that, but you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel at some point this month that you've been carved to be revealed, for your divinity to be revealed. And if anybody comes to you this month, I see mid-month, if anybody comes to you and tries to chip at you, which they might, it's this feeling, Aries, of you saying, You can do your worst. Come at me. Do it. Because you can't hurt me. I've already had the master hand, the cosmic hand chipping away at me to produce something beautiful. If you come in with your big clumsy hands trying to chip something off me, that's just destructive. I will leave the carving and the chipping and the cutting to spirit who knows what they're doing. So if anyone mid-month comes at you with that chip, 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 maybe a boss, maybe even a father figure, or somebody who has some level of authority over you this month, just relax and say, well, they were carving me. It also gave me like a safe place for me to not be bothered by those who are trying to hurt me or chip at me, So it's really beautiful. Aries, it's a wonderful month, very spiritual. People will come mid-month, as I said, maybe to chip at you, but just stay. Stay with this beautiful feeling and you'll be fine. And don't let anybody in to that beautiful, protected, divine space you've got going on now, because they're not welcome. You can go out and roll up that welcome mat and stick it under your arm because they're not welcome. This is just a moment between you and spirit. And enjoy every bit of it, Aries, every moment of it, because your belief system, by the time we get to the full moon in Sagittarius, is going to radically, radically change. Yeah. Now I will say this, as I'm just waiting on a few little cards there at the end, Aries. There's a moment here, maybe for some of you around June 17th, where some period of study or travel, or maybe even a legal issue, might come to an end. But certainly a period of deep introspection about what do I believe? Now you understand what you believe. Now you understand how to really reconnect with the divinity that was being revealed in you. You're able to let go of some old beliefs, and it's going to be good. I like the energy, Aries, I have to say. I like it. So if you want to do anything spiritual this month, do some traveling, go on a spiritual journey, or just take time out in a nature space, or go somewhere that's just away, maybe a vacation where it's away from everybody. It's a wonderful thing to do this month. Okay, so Aries, look where we are. Oh, more than 20 minutes. Let me choose the cards. You see, I got carried away there. Of course I did. We'll just choose 4 more cards for you, Aries. This hopped out, the Hermit. 3 more. This one kind of pushed itself out. Look at that nice card. And we'll just get 2 more. I feel peaceful energy with you this month. Peace. Kind of untouchable vibe. Look at these beautiful, beautiful cards. Kind of, I'm kind of happy I'm safe, private, protected. For those of you who've been worried about your privacy, this is a month where you just get that little safe space again. Safety, protected, you're fine. 1 more card. Okay, nothing jumped out. Oh, this one kind of jumped out. We'll choose you. Yeah. Okay, finally, Aries, after that introduction, let's go over to your... Oh, I need my magic wand here, my little feather. Ta-da! Your magic overview. There it is there. So, Aries, let's get to it. So, we enter the month already knowing that the full moon in Scorpio has done its work. It's done its thing. It's dredged up stuff for you, brought it right up. Those little toxic barrels came bouncing up to the surface. And they might have surprised you. Maybe it came from people, or maybe it just came from your own self. Just stuff that came up. Maybe even memories of stuff from the past that you had kind of dislocated yourself from, disassociated yourself from. Maybe sadnesses, pains, hurts. And you were pushing for the last 1.5 years, that you kind of removed yourself a bit from the pains of the past. And you said, great, I'm over them. Look at me, I've been working hard on myself and I'm over it. But the Scorpio full moon said, yeah, you are, but there's a little bit of cleanup that still has to happen. You have to have that little moment with Mars in the 4th house of retrospection, memory recall, where you just have to bring those last little bouncing toxic barrels up to the surface and fish them out with a fishing net and finally release them. There was a big judgment happening for you. Now, on a legal thing, I do feel that some of you have been going through some thing that either could have gone down the legal route, maybe that's why some of you need an intermediary, or maybe it actually did go down the legal route. And I think that is something that you are getting the upper hand with, like we touched upon last month. You're going to be fine. Just don't get messy, because that's something that's ending for you now. This feeling too, Aries, of like a mirror being held up to you, where you say to yourself, you know, if this happened to me maybe 3 years ago, this person bringing me their toxicity or trying to drag me down, if this happened 3 years ago, I would have reacted totally differently. I would have gone in for the kill, maybe. I would have fought fire with fire. I would have destroyed them. But now you're saying, look how far I've come. Not so interested in doing that. You know, I'm more interested in just having peace. I'm more interested in not fighting. I'm more interested in using my fight energy into getting my life up and running in a way that I'm happy with. It's a waste of energy to get all dragged down by those little piggies we talked about last month. Waste of energy, and I've learned a lot. I finally feel that some of those big fears that I have reconnected with from my past again are now over. And it's almost a month, Aries, of taking out the old memories and opening them out like a scrapbook and saying, look how far I've come. It's over. That sad part of my life is really over. It really is. That chapter is over. That feeling of never being forgiven, it's over. I feel forgiven. I keep feeling this, Aries, justified. I feel that there were times that you felt spirit had abandoned you, let you down. And there's a moment this month where you say, just at that moment where I thought they'd let me down and weren't there for me, they were actually working hard in the background for me. And I see their handiwork now. I see your handiwork, you with your hammer and chisel carving out a new beautiful space for me. I see you. I just didn't know you were doing it in the background. But now I'm even more humbled. The feeling of being humbled, the feeling of being grateful, and the feeling of gratitude that's coming here, Aries, for the conversation between you and spirit of saying, look, maybe I still have things that I need to clean up, but I feel purified. Feel purified. Yeah. But just to say this too, I think that maybe a Scorpio has been a catalyst for change for you, positively or negatively. They either came in and really forced you and said, come on, Aries, let's win this, let's get this, let it go. You're so much more than this kind of vibe. Scorpios are great to do that. Or alternatively, it could have been a Scorpio going nuts under the Scorpio full moon and bring in a whole lot of toxicity to you. But either way, they played a part. And there's an element of gratitude for the part that they played in all of this, because ultimately they brought you closer to understanding that you were always being taken care of, which I love. Now, here's the thing we touched upon a few moments ago, Aries, of feeling that you had no privacy, feeling that you couldn't do anything in private. I get that with Saturn in your 10th house and Pluto in the 10th house. Maybe a lot of your life is on display right now, maybe through your career. Maybe people are watching you to see how well you're doing. Your boss is watching you. There could be a thing of, I can't move left or right here because there are so many people seeing how I'm going to react here. Maybe even if it's a court thing. You know, I have to behave myself in this shit because if I trip up here, everybody's going to see something. So I think this is what you're getting back this month, the feeling of privacy, feeling of not being so scrutinized maybe by other people. But yet, again, this might come in a tricky way for you, Aries, because I feel it'll be one last push this month where you could get weird news, even gossipy kind of news, maybe work gossipy news, co-workers, for those of you who have employees too, maybe around mid-month, it could get a bit gossipy and weird. Where am I going? Touching upon that, so people coming out and getting it all wrong about you, kind of saying, oh, well, you are this. And you're saying, I am actually none of that. I am not what you think I am. I have more dignity, I have more pride. And I'm going to not fear. This is what I'm feeling, Aries. Not fear an attack. Not fear that somebody comes in and reveals something personal about you or private about you. Not fearing somebody coming in at you and kind of pointing stuff out about you. There's a real moment here where something turns around, where they try to come in and say, you're a bad parent, you're a bad boss, you're a bad worker, you're a bad responsible person, team leader, you're bad. And you just say, this is it. This is the moment where I just end this. I'm not going to get messy. I'm not going to get drawn into an argument. I am just going to say, you will not invade. I'm not going to fear this messiness, these messy words, messy communications, messy things coming through social media, through emails, through letters, things like that. I'm not going to fear some communication that tries to infringe upon my privacy. I'm going to fight back and regain my privacy. And this is something that appears to be needed, Aries. This is something where you go from hiding, standing back, not showing off your talents maybe, not showing up being the best, not showing yourself as the best, maybe being too reserved, being too withdrawn, holding back a little bit too much. And there's a moment where you say, no, I'm going to show my full strength here. I'm going to come out and fight back a little bit here. I wonder, is it something to do with mid-month, around June 16th, around 16th, 17th, around the time of the full moon? It could be a moment of you saying, I'm standing up for myself. It's like you're not bigger than me. You don't have power over me. Even if it's a thing you're doing in work and you have maybe a competitor, maybe they might come in and you might feel, oh, well, these are the big competitors, the big group, the big company. Don't fear them. Don't fear somebody that seems to appear to have something more than you or bigger than you. Because you're going to turn this around, Aries, and it's what's needed. What's needed. And for those of you going through the courts, I'm coming back for that, or some legal thing, or have to go through the government for something, or some official body, banks, official lenders, insurance companies, anything where there's an authority figure, the police or so on. Don't crumble under this, Aries. You need to stand up for yourself, because I see whatever this situation is, you come out triumphant. But it's not just that you win through the thing that's presented. It's that you emerge and you say, I've broken the last seal. I've broken the last block. I've broken that last fear of always wondering, am I good enough? You know, if they come in and challenge the work I'm doing, or challenge some relationship I'm in, or challenge my integrity in some way, am I going to crumble? No, you're not. In fact, as I'm saying, this is a fight that at first you're saying, oh, don't come at me, but when it comes at you, it is the very catalyst of change for you. It is the one that gets you winning again. I hope that's not too complicated. I think you'll get it as the month goes on, what this thing is. You'll win through in more ways then you know. Now, here's the thing, Aries, again, I want you to show caution this month. I think that you are being very genuine and sincere this month. I think you are holding space for people who are going through weird situations in their life. And I think that your best thing to do here is to keep everything above board. Say as little as possible. Don't get drawn into revealing secrets about yourself. Don't get drawn in to these type of conversations where they get all heavy and you add something to it, because this is not where you need to be, Aries. All communication needs to be 100% clear. And I want to say, for those of you who work with clients, for those of you who are trying to organize something maybe within your career, or a trip or a vacation, something where you're organizing something, maybe with people who are a bit disorganized, keep everything super clean, keep it emailed, keep it all above board, and say, have I a yes or no answer here? Because I feel that you might meet somebody this month who commits to something with you, and then when you say, oh well, that's great, I don't need to worry about that, they're committed to, we've had this conversation, you go back and say, look, you remember that conversation we had where you said you were going to, and they'll say, that's not what I said. I never said I was going to commit to that. So everything on paper, Aries, everything written down, everything organized, because what you don't want is to fall into the, oh, well, I just said that in the moment, I didn't mean it, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to let you down, I'm not going to show up. And watch out too for the no-shows this month. Maybe if you've an arrangement with somebody that you have to meet a client, meet somebody, maybe even a date, just don't get too disappointed if they show up really super late in Gemini season, or if they're a no-show. Just don't lose your shit over this, okay? Just keep calm, and make sure with all your communication, if it's very important, with appointments, with courts, anything like that, every piece of information is important. Keep it clean. And I'm just feeling here too, there's something about, now go down this road, this might mean something to you mid-month. There's a thing about written communication, either through an email, a document, an SMS message, social media message, and there's a moment here, Aries, where you might find information that saves you from something. Okay? Now you're saying, what? Saves me from what? It's like a key piece of information that saves the day. So it's very important for you to go through, scan your emails or whatever it is, because there is a vital piece of information in there somewhere that if you feel somebody comes, maybe your boss or somebody challenges you around the full moon, 16th, 17th, there's a key piece of information that you can physically show that will turn everything around here for a win for you, Aries, for a win. You know what it's the feeling of, Aries? If you're saying, I am tired of people taking advantage of me, I'm now going to start proving that I'm right. So there's something about that there. Now, excuse me, coming towards the end of the month, Aries, you're seeing things in a whole new light. We touched upon that. You are now being very introspective this month, being very cautious, keeping to yourself, taking care of your own needs, taking care of your own spirituality, being quiet, being reflective, and doing a lot of behind the scenes work towards the end of the month, standing back a lot. Now, Neptune retrograding in Pisces this month might be doing that. It's about inner work, inner peace, inner quiet, becoming very spiritual, investigating your own spirituality and casting light on what you're leaving behind. And what you're leaving behind, it's almost you holding up that last lantern and saying, well, there it is. I had forgotten about you for a while. I'd forgotten how bad things used to be, but there you are. It's time now from this new space that I'm in to finally say goodbye. And this brings a whole whole new level of healing. Now, for some of you, there could be, for the singles, a whole new level of understanding between you and a Virgo sun, moon, or ascendant. I mean, we've got Scorpio energy here, and we've also got Virgo. Scorpio and Virgo are very key. Some of you could be falling in love with a Virgo. Some of you could be falling out of love with a Virgo. Maybe they're the one that you're holding the lantern up to and saying, we've come far enough. It's time for me to start again. So either way, they're a catalyst for some big change in your life, because you do want to start again and dive right into the next part of your journey, diving into new love. I feel the singles towards the end of the month, maybe even some of the couples, I don't know, crosswatchers, don't panic, but you are diving in with a new sense of passion, maybe to a new relationship, but diving in with a new sense of passion and heart connection to everything you're doing in your life, as we talked about. That new connection. It's not all about striving forward, being ambitious, being the best, getting your life up and running. It's about loving and connecting to what you're doing. And towards the end of the month, you're really going to feel that balance coming back in. A lot of balance about who you give your time and energy and effort to at the end of the month. That seems to be the biggest lesson you've learned. There are people who are in and there are people who are out. I got cut out, you know how it is, I always get cut out in these videos, but yeah, it's a good energy at the end of the month where you recognize who and what deserves your time, effort and energy. And also when it comes to your money, Aries, there could be a real focus at the very, very end of the month where you're saying, you know, how can I play with this? Do I need to borrow a little bit of money to do something, maybe within my home business or something that you want to create further? Do I need to borrow? Do I need to do something? So they're big questions that you kind of exit the month with, and maybe those will be answered next month, I'm not too sure, but it's on your mind certainly at the end of the month. Aries, I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope you enjoy the beautiful month of June for you, where it's all about this beautiful communication between you and spirit, which ultimately sets your heart free. You know, so it's gorgeous, Aries, I'm going to leave it at that. And as you know, these are just the general energies. To get into the real stuff, the nitty-gritty of love, for those of you in a relationship, for the singles, where's the love? For your money and your career, for family, friends, for every single detail, we go into all of that in great detail in the VIMEO readings, the deep read, all linked down there below. Come along again, Aries, this month. For those of you who have not seen the deep read, you're cordially invited, so do come along. Link down there below. We open everything up and get stuck right in. So it'd be great to see you there. Aries, my beautiful, enjoy this month. Enjoy the beautiful spirit magic. And between now and next month, I hope you have a wonderful time. And as always, I'm going to leave you with all my love, Aries, and a great big kiss from me to you. Mwah. See you next month, my gorgeous. Bye.